The MSVR Focus Cup is brought to you in association with Dorenza. Welcome to Oulton Park and the fifth programme in the 2022 season for the MSVR Focus Cup. The championship led by Liam McGill as we arrive here. Second position in the standings, defending champion Simon Rudd. Scott Parkin is next up. Fourth, though, in the championship, the man down in the paddock with Barry, and that's Richard Davis.
Richard, been a while since we caught up with the Oulton Park. What a busy day it is for you today. 2 races coming up. Good season so far for you, though. It's proved that consistency is key, because you're up there like 4th place in the championship.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just trying to get all the finishes in, and I could do with being a bit quicker, but that'll come. So
they all say that, though. But I mean, at least you're sniffing near that sort of top 3, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance I can get top 3 by the end of the season if I keep the consistency up, because Parkin's not doing this one, so that gives me another jump on him. So yeah, we'll see.
And how do you feel overall? I know that you're quite a competitive guy out there, but it's not all been easy, has it?
No, we had a couple of car issues the first couple of rounds, so that sort of slows you down a bit. Snetterton was a fairly decent round, and then testing yesterday was good. Got a 2:07.9, which would have put me 4th today in qualifying, I think. But then I had a few car issues in qualifying today, so we had a problem with the isolator switch, but it's all fixed, so that's good.
John, start of the day, qualifying done and dusted. That's got to be one of your best results, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. I got a P2 at Brands Hatch last year. It's my local track, so I've got a bit of time around there. But to get a P2 here today is amazing. Yesterday I didn't get out in session 2, session 3. The car was ill, it was overheating. The guys done a fantastic job last night. They changed water pumps and radiators, and it seemed to be on song. And I went out there. I planned to come into the pits after about 5 laps to get the tyre pressures checked, but I just kept going faster and faster and faster, so I just didn't come in. I just kept launching it into all the corners, getting a bit braver. But yeah, I'm totally happy. Really happy with it.
Not an easy task. I mean, it's quite a tricky circuit it is, but I mean, you've got some pretty fast guys out there too. That must have been a nice surprise when you looked at those lap times and the overall thing when you got back.
It was a nice surprise. I mean, last year we was here and I was going around with like a 2:11. It was my rookie year, so I was quite fearful of the track. And knowing what the guys have been doing this year, they are extremely quick. So to split Rudd and McGill is a massive achievement. It was a green track as well, so we learning each corner as it goes. It was so slippery out there, and for me personally, to be able to kind of evolve as a person over the course of the championship, but to evolve on a lap by lap, corner by corner basis, to be able to put myself between those two, it's a massive achievement for me, and I'm proud of myself.
Scott's not here, as I think we pointed out, which is going to be easy slightly, but your mirrors are still going to be pretty full. There's a lot after that position. P2's probably, well, I prefer P2 than P1 really when it started a race, but what's the tactic going to be?
I truly haven't thought about it too much, but I think it's just concentrate on getting a good start, and then we'll see where other people are at behind me. But if I can get tucked in behind McGill, I'm quite confident I can stick with him for a little while, hopefully a lot longer than a little while. I think it's corner by corner, just see how it goes. The cars are out there now and they're putting a bit more rubber down, so there may be a bit more traction, so it's just finding that and just do the best I can.
John Lyne's second on the grid, as you heard, behind Liam McGill. Simon Rudd, third on the grid from Callum Eason, then Simon Watts and Simon Walton. Seventh in 777 is Sean Reynolds, then 8th position Greg Saunders from Simon Waugh. Top 10 completed by Claire Avis from Richard Davis, James Hayward and Abby Walton. Oulton Park, it's the full Monty this weekend, the Oulton Park International Circuit, 2.6920 miles to be precise. The car's coming into line and ready for the first of 2 races. Good conditions. Oulton's always exciting, whether it's wet or dry. We line up with Abby Walton in 13th. This might be Abby's first race at Oulton Park. Here we go then, getting ready for lights out for the first race of 2. Away we go, great start from Liam McGill. John Baker in second gets away. They've all got away pretty well, to be perfectly honest. Here's Callum Eason in 3rd place, heading down into Old Hall Corner. Looks to the outside of Baker, gets an armful of lock, collects it all up. Simon Rudd is immediately behind him. Now I tell you what, I've seen many a race go wrong for many a competitor at Old Hall on lap 1, but thankfully I think everybody is okay. This is Greg Saunders, looks down the inside of Sean Reynolds, catches the back of the treble 7 car, and the man who started in 7th place, oh look how undulating the grass is for both of those cars. That's why you need to keep it on the track. That was very unfortunate. Hard lines to treble 7 Sean Reynolds. This the view, this is Simon Rudd, 4th position at the moment, the defending champion. Had a great weekend, a resurgent weekend at Snetterton last time out. Comes through the Island hairpin. Shell Oil's hairpin, I beg your pardon. Coming now out of that, round the right-hander towards the Britain's chicane. Simon Watts there ahead of Claire Avis in the swanflight.com car. And here's Simon Waugh, who is next in line. Oh, and that's Simon Rudd, who's pulled off. Simon Rudd is off the circuit. Here's the view from Simon as he pulls across onto the grass, out of harm's way. Realises there's a problem with the car. That is a massive shame. The defending champion trying to get the car out of harm's way. So it's going to be effectively a no score for him in this race. And of course he'll have to start at the back from race number 2. This is not a gleeful moment for Liam McGill, but Liam will want to beat Simon Rudd on track, wheel to wheel, no doubt about that, but he is in line to get more points and build on the 46-point championship lead he had coming into this weekend. A couple of changes after qualifying on the points. Richard Avis, by my calculations, does go into 3rd place. He was talking about that with Barry, wasn't he? And I think by a solitary point now, ahead of Scott Parkin, into 3rd place in the championship. And Simon Watts has moved up into 9th ahead of Mark Geraghty, and it's all by my maths, so apologies if I've got that wrong. Simon Waugh works hard. The other thing you'll notice, look at the crowd, massive crowd. That's what I was going to say, both inside and outside the track. And when you consider that I said this is 2.6 miles and you've got a huge crowd spread. There's Simon Rudd's car again in the background, which is going to be rescued by the marshals and pushed to safety. When you consider that, say, 2.6 miles and much of the inside and outside has got a good coverage of spectators here. It's a massive crowd on this MSVR race day, enjoying their Focus Cup racing. Here's Simon Watts, turns in again to the Shell Oil's hairpin, banked corner. You get a great angle of that from the onboard cameras. Simon Walton leading this group out of there. Simon Waugh in blue at the back of the group. Claire Avis working hard. Claire 8th in the championship. Only 13 points down on Sean Reynolds, and she might well pass Sean in this one. Again, we'll do the maths after race number 1 and see whether any championship positions do change. We've got 2 more events after this weekend. We've got Croft, 20th, 21st of August, and Brands Hatch in September. It's been another super year for Focus Cup. Heartily recommend it if you're looking at getting involved in racing and you haven't got the time or space to prepare a car yourself and you want to have an equal car to everybody else. This is the championship to come into. And we've seen so many class drivers coming in as well. Drivers like Simon Rudd, last year's champion, Mark Proctor, the former British Touring Car Championship driver in it as well, and so many really good drivers coming in and plying the trade and putting reputations on the line. Challenge on here as Richard Avis starts to put some pressure on. Richard's made great progress, incidentally, in the 77 car, qualified in 11th slot and has made up a lot of ground. It's not the easiest thing to do on any track, let alone Oulton Park, and he's busy looking at the moment at Simon Walton. So this is very good progress from the 77 car, again looking to build on that 4th position in the championship standings. Let's see what he can do about Simon Walton, who's in the Dorenza car. Grateful thanks to them sponsoring this meeting. Last time, of course, it was WDE Motorsport who sponsored it. And there is the Dorenza car. So Simon Walton, very much, I think his focus is going to be on the defence and what's happening on immediately behind him. Richard Davis being closed up on by Simon Watts. So Richard's got a little bit of work to do in terms of defence. Not that close at the moment as they go down through Britons once again. 23 CAD capture car of Simon Watts ahead of 71 Claire Avis. Then they go down from Hilltop into the chicane, the Hislop chicane. Right, left and right. Richard Davis looking quite racy here, always picturesque with the lake in the background here, but no time to focus on that because we are very much getting our attention on this battle, and Richard Davis has definitely got momentum up the grid. Up Clay Hill under the pedestrian footbridge. You can watch inside or outside here at Oulton Park, and it's extremely easy to get either side. Simon Watts still busy chasing hard, looking to record a best result of the season, his best so far this season. 6th position, Donington Park, 2nd of April, the first race of the year. This is round 11 of the championship, race 11 of the 2022 campaign. As they go down and then up Deer Leap once again, there is Abby Walton. Abby hoping to break into the top 10. Fastest lap, by the way, at the moment with Liam McGill, perhaps unsurprisingly, so that could be another 5 points in the championship collection for him. Abby Walton continuing to improve her lap times. That's what you really expect to do as a newcomer in this championship. Welcome back to Oulton Park. We ride on board with Richard Davis chasing down Simon Walton. This is for 4th position. So they head around the left-hander. It then goes into the hairpin, which you can see now. 3 cars in close proximity. Walton goes wide. Richard Davis through. Simon Watts is going to try and follow through on the inside run as well. They're side by side for 5th place now. Simon Walton, I think, is going to let that go. Claire Avis is in behind trying to close up as well. So Richard Davis, it's been a great race for Richard Davis, working his way through the field, and I'll remind you, started in 11th place and is now up into 4th. So he's very definitely the hard charger in this one. There's the treble 7 car of Sean Reynolds. Had that tag from Greg Saunders on lap number 1 of the race, and the car is damaged, but he is no parts hanging off the car, so he's able to continue. And he's actually still on the lead lap, so he did recover extremely well, and goes to show how strong these cars are as we ride on board once again with Simon Walton, losing a little bit of ground now to 4th and 5th place Richard Davis and Simon Watts. So coming up towards Old Hall, I don't think there's any challenges there. Liam McGill out front, here comes John Baker in 2nd place. 3rd position is still Callum Eason. Callum grabbing his first brace of podia at Snetterton last time out. It was a 3-race treat for us last time, and Claire Avis now is passing Simon Walton. So Simon Walton not looking happy. Claire Avis is passed safely on the outside, run down into Old Hall corner, turns in. Simon Walton still actually driving well, still in line for some decent points here. Again, fantastic crowd that we've got here as they head down into Cascades once again. Simon Watts continues in his pursuit of Richard Davis. They go along Lakeside. Slight uphill run here. Round the left-hander, heading down towards the hairpin once again. Richard Davis looking pretty comfortable at the moment. Remember, he will have passed that 23 car on his way through the field. As Sean Reynolds now if you think that's a repeat of lap number 1, it's a complete reversal, and Sean Reynolds goes into the back of the 34 car of Greg Saunders, who's out of the race. Remember, it was the other way round on the opening lap. Now, is Greg Saunders going to be able to continue? Reynolds ended up on the grass on the inside, Saunders on the outside. And that was at Cascade, so okay, not sure it's a case of lightning striking twice. It was the same thing, but the other way round. Anyway, you get my drift. That's a shame. That's a bit of a pity. We're also being told Sean Reynolds might have a penalty for track limits as well. This is becoming a battle now for fourth place. Richard Davis and Simon Watts out of Hislops, up Clay Hill they go. Simon Watts beginning to close in under the footbridge, heading up towards Druids, the double apex corner, which they will reach now. Still the 77 of Richard Davis holds on to it, goes under the Paul Warwick Bridge. Probably doing enough. I think he's responded here. He's managed to eke the gap out a little bit from Simon Watts. Having said that, Watts seems to close up under braking into Lodge Corner. They go again through Deer Leap. Here's the treble 7 car. Sean Reynolds, who was missing the front of that car before the contact on Greg Saunders, who's having another moment in the Rob Sims racing car. Manages to rejoin, does Greg. Nice to see Greg back. We missed him at Stetson last time out. Now, is this going to close up, and are we going to be able to see a challenge on Richard Davis by Simon Watts? Watts the chaser. So down through Cascades, along Lakeside they go again. It looks as if Richard Davis has maybe got enough in the tank to possibly hold him off to the end of this one. Race leader still Liam McGill. I haven't seen a lot of Liam, and that's what happens on a covered race, broadcast race, when you're away in the lead, because the race director's going to, quite rightly, keep an eye on the various battles that are going on. Simon Walton, incidentally, as well, we'll come back to Simon Walton in a minute. This is James Hayward being caught by Sean Reynolds, and the ABS car is passed very neatly on the inside by Sean Reynolds. Lovely shot of him working the wheel through that banked corner. And James Hayward on his way to a top 10 here, which is going to be a good result for his opening gambit. Here's Jonathan Baker running in P2 again. Not seen a lot of John Baker. Little way ahead of Callum Eason. So Callum in the 26 car. We ride on board with Callum. You can see the gap in front. This youngster finding that this is an ideal opportunity. This is an ideal formula for him to cut his racing teeth. Rich Davis and Simon Watt still behind, still pretty much that same gap, but Claire Avis in the background coming under pressure from Simon Walter. They've got Simon Wall behind them, then James Hayward, Sean Reynolds, Abby Walton still running in 11th place. So Simon Walton, I did wonder maybe whether there's an intermittent problem with the car, but he seems to be okay with it at the moment. Claire pulls away a little bit as they go along the main straight, coming down into Old Hall again. This is one of the great sequences in British motorsport, round Old Hill, down Denton's Cascades, particularly when the sun's shining and you're being watched by thousands of race spectators here. It's a superb buzz for the drivers. Claire Avis doing a grand job here. Best result so far this year. 6th position, race 2 at Snetterton, and she's on to equal that here. So I don't think Claire will be too unhappy, and her consistency, 8th in the championship for Claire Avis at the moment. Trying to close down on Sean Reynolds. We'll have to keep an eye on how that points gap closes up at the end of this race, but she's got to fend off Simon Walton, who again starts to reel her in. So Walton has not been left in this battle. A gap developed, but then he gets his head down and starts to close in again. Setup wise, of course, one car might favour a different area of the circuit. Simon clatters the curbs on the Britain's chicane, goes up to Hilltop. He'll come down now. We come in towards the Hislops chicane. Claire Avis is still there. Then we've got Simon Waugh in behind. Simon trying to close in on them. Someone's kicked up a little bit of dust in the background. Claire Avis, I've got to say, working well here and soaking up a fair amount of pressure from Simon Walton. Let's see what Simon's got in the tank in terms of being able to pick a space to go through. Claire putting away here. Meanwhile, across the line goes Liam McGill onto the last lap. You would argue that he did the hard work in qualifying to get that pole position. He drove smoothly off the line. He's driven well. Fastest lap for him at the moment remains on lap 5, a 2:05.966. Actually a quicker time than we had in qualifying. So Liam carrying a little bit of momentum forward from qualifying. It's still John Baker in second, Callum Eason is in third. And here is McGill, of course the right thing for the directors to do. We mentioned that we haven't seen a lot of him, but on the last lap you want to just check that all is safe with the race leader's car. Simon Watts still in 5th place, chasing Richard Davis. This will be Simon Watts' best result of the year, actually, thinking about it. Going for 5th position. So it's McGill still the race leader, and again we're watching the battle between Richard Davis and Simon Watts. A bit of a gap back to Claire Avis. Claire, I think, has seen off the challenge now of Simon Walton. Has got some space, maybe half a dozen car lengths between herself and Simon Walton in 7th. Simon Moore is next up from James Hayward. On the timing screen, that is. Sean Reynolds has got a 5-second penalty for track limits. But here is Liam McGill, who is looking for a 6th win of the season. Will extend the championship lead. Comes out to Druids under the Paul Warwick Bridge, up towards Lodge Corner for the last time. He will afford himself a look in the mirror. He'll know that John Baker is running in P2, but some 6, maybe 7 seconds back. The roller coaster that is Deer Leap is negotiated by the race leader, and are we going to get to see the reactions as we go across the line? No, we're not, but we do see the checkered flag for Liam McGill, who takes the win. John Baker will take a very well-earned 2nd place in car number 10, and a best result for him. Callum Eason will complete the podium in 3rd. 4th position will go to Richard Avis. Those cars now exiting the final corner. Here we go across the line, so it's Richard Avis. Simon Watts next up. Claire Avis will take 6th position from Simon Walton, then Simon Moore. Well, next up, we've still got Sean Reynolds, as I mentioned, ahead of James Hayward, but on the timing screen, James Hayward is going to take 9th place. They negotiate Deer Leap as well, and will go across the line now to take the checkered flag. And Abby Walton will complete the runners in 11th place. Greg Saunders, a retirement after 5 laps of the 8 that were contested here at Oulton Park. Liam McGill the winner from John Baker and Callum Eason. Richard Avis next up from Simon Watts and Claire Avis. Simon Walton 7th from Simon Waugh and James Hayward. Sean Reynolds in 10th. 11th goes to Abby Walton. Non-finishes for Greg Saunders and Liam McGill. Fastest lap to our race winner, Liam McGill.
Liam, fantastic way to start the weekend there. Race 1 done and dusted. A good clear lead by the end there. A little busy at the start off with.
Yeah, it's always the same. It's always a bit nerve-wracking, certainly on the first lap, but the plan was just to try and get the head down and get a little gap, and then just really focus, almost like it's qualifying, just trying to get the good laps in. So yeah, that's all.
Well, that worked out rather well.
Yeah, it did. I was a bit nervous about the start, being up there and knowing that I've got it there if need be, but got a good start. I saw Eason came up quite quickly, so I was going to nip him behind McGill and just tail him round, but I had to defend a little bit, which stopped the speed a bit in turn 1, but managed to keep it, and yeah, just done what I'd done in qualifying, tried to keep McGill as honest as possible, and pulled the P2 home quite nicely.
Now, Callum, I was going to catch up with you earlier in the day, but fairly tight timescale between qualifying and the first race there. Overall, first of all, championship-wise, we come into this round 5th place, so that's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, that's where you want to be, there and above.
Yeah, for being the rookie of the series and being the youngest one here, you've got a little bit more to push to get past all these guys that are experienced. So it's just, for me personally, it's just I've got to try the best I can to keep up with the guys like these. But to come through and start beating them just means so much.
Welcome back to Oulton Park. The sun is shining, we've got a little bit of very welcome breeze, and we're in between races. Time for the team to refettle the cars. Also, a chance for spectators to come into the paddock, see the cars close up and meet the drivers and the team behind the MSVR Focus Cup Championship. Also time to meet our valued sponsor, Jack Carter from Dorenza.
Jack, great to see you here at Oulton Park. What a fantastic sunny day and a massive crowd. Great way to promote products here. Now, first of all, Dorenza, title sponsor for this round. How did you become involved?
So Simon actually contacted us 4 years ago when the championship started in 2018 now, asking if we wanted to get involved, and we thought, we were still up and coming at the time and thought, yeah, why not? It's the type of car that we sort of work on, we develop parts for, so it's a perfect opportunity to get involved with motorsport.
So a lot of your parts, I see the performance parts, we'll come back to that in a minute, they're actually on all these race cars?
Yeah, so on every single car on the grid we've got exhaust systems, we've got radiator and a front mount intercooler.
So I suppose on the racetrack that's a great way to develop products, is it, and test them?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the main reasons we make parts is for motorsport, is for track days, and to test them properly, the track's perfect for them. It puts them through way more sort of stress than you would do on the road. So if we know it works on track, we know it work on the road.
So great synergy in that way, I suppose, yeah. And just tell us a little bit more about the business.
Yeah, so we're based just outside of Manchester, northwest, so Oulton Park's our local track. That's why it's perfect to sort of sponsor this event, as it were. We develop parts in-house, manufacture exhausts in-house. We supply exhaust, radiators, intercoolers, wheel spaces. Basically try and cater for everyone and everything. Like any tuning part you want, we'll try and supply it for you.
I'm surrounded by components. I'm not mechanically minded. These look like pretty high quality materials.
Yeah, so all our exhaust systems are made from the highest grade T304 stainless. They're all TIG welded, and then the components that go through a bit more stress are all back purged as well, which just gives the product a bit more strength and more durability.
So it's a well-known brand nationwide, as we know, but anyone new to it wanting to find out more about your range, where do they go?
Yeah, so check out our website. It's www.dorenza.co.uk, nice and simple. On there you can find parts for Ford, BMW, Audi, Fiat. Basically, whatever car you have, we'll probably have a part for it.
Claire, always great to catch up with you. Now, I think that was a really good race for you. You had a great little battle there and finished 6th, which I know puts you on pole for the next race, which you're not mad keen on, but it's good progress overall.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I'm pleased with my performance. I'm pleased with being able to hang on to the top 6. And yeah, I'm let's say dubious about being on pole, but I will give it all I've got and try and focus forward and not backwards and see what I can do.
Now, I always think you understate your performance, but overall, I mean, you're progressing every round, aren't you?
I am, yes. I don't want to jinx that, as I'm sure you can understand. Yeah, I think, and that's what it's all about for me. It's about the fun of being able to improve myself, and I'm competitive against people when I'm on track with them. I like to have a good race, but I think when it comes down to myself, if I can improve my lap times, I can improve my skills on track, I can get my lines cleaner, and I suppose relax with the car and become at one with the car, then yeah, that's a good thing for me. And it shows, I guess, in the results that I've been having this year so far, so yeah. Now,
Focus Cup Championship does some wonderful circuits, gives you plenty of opportunity. Today we're in front of a big GT Cup crowd as well, so does that add to the excitement for you, or is that slightly off-putting?
I don't look at the crowd. It's that simple. I have no idea how many people are out there or what they're doing, because my focus is on the black stuff.
Okay, here now with the number 1 machine of Simon Rudd, second in the championship as we come into this round, Simon, but race 1 done and dusted, but uncharacteristic. What happened in that last one?
Yeah, a bit of a shame really. The drive shaft broke on lap 1, so once that's gone, we had no drive and ended the race really.
See the mechanics furiously working on it, so we're good for race 2 at least.
Yeah, I think it's a relatively straightforward fix, so it's just unfortunate that the parts failed, but yeah, they'll fix it and we'll go again in race 2.
Good support system, as you say, behind here. Now, coming into this round, second, Liam's, he's doing well, isn't he, this year, but you're right on his tail there. The fact that Scott's not here also helps, hopefully, by the end of this day.
Yes and no, really. I think that I miss Scott. We've had some really good battles over the last sort of season and a half. Snetterton was obviously really good for me, but yeah, we see today. Unfortunately, what's happened for me in race 1 and in qualifying, but we'll keep going and we'll see where we can get to.
Pleased with your overall performance this season?
My performance, yes. I don't think I've done anything different. I'm sure there's a few attempts here and there, but yeah, relatively pleased. Obviously, I'd prefer to be winning, but that's the way racing goes.
These races, I mean, it was mid-pack where most of the action was in that race there. So I mean, obviously some of these other drivers are progressing as well, but at the front end, it's very busy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always really busy, and I'm massively pleased for John. He's had some bad luck this season, so I'm really glad that he's got up on the podium as well. He deserves it. But yeah, we're starting to see some of the people from last year that were in the mid-pack now towards the front. So, it shows that the series is a good progression for people as well.
This time of the season, I always have a little look back and sort of look at. It's important. People that have put you here, sponsors. I mean, they're often overlooked, aren't they? But they're key.
For me, it's massive. I wouldn't go racing without them. I mean, GRD Lifts and Engineering are my main sponsor this year. They're new. They're here today. They're loving it. They're loving the series. And I've got lots of other sponsors as well. So, everything helps for me, and I don't go racing without them.
Abby, been a while since we caught up with you. I think it was at Donington Park. So how's the season gone so far?
Oh, I've learnt so much. I feel like I'm doing a lot better on times and then braking positions and where you should be in the corners and stuff like that. My fear's starting to go, and now I'm seem to be getting more comfortable with it. So I'm really having fun. Lots and lots of fun.
What's your favourite track so far?
I like this one. I like this one in Donington. Donington didn't go very well for us because the car was playing up a little bit with brand new car all done up. So, but this one I'm really enjoying it. No, I really like it here. I like Clough too, but we have to go there yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Is that one of your local ones, isn't it?
Yeah, I do a lot of track days there, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I do a good bet.
So, the Abbey of Donington Park to the Abbey now, how's your mindset changed with your racecraft?
Completely different. I've done a lot of tuition with some of one of the instructors, and he even said from last time to this time was just totally different driver, a lot more confident, a lot more I don't have the fear. Just going into the corner now, I'm just going for it. Just trying to catch up to the next person in front more than having to just learn now. So I've got that bit of competitiveness in me now.
Abby moves to the front of her group, so she starts 7th on the grid. The top 6 of the reverse, though, see Claire Avis on pole, as you heard. Simon Watts alongside, then Richard Avis and Callum Eason, Jonathan Baker and Liam McGill. Abby Walton on row 4 with James Hayward, then Simon Ward and Simon Walton. Simon Rudd, 11th on the grid, ahead of Greg Saunders and Sean Reynolds. Saunders and Reynolds get ding-ding round 2 now, and the clerk of the course actually put both of those drivers at the back of the grid as a result of their contact. None of it malicious, but the 2 incidents, the clerks just decided to pop them off the back of the grid, and they'll go again in this one, which is what we like to see. Claire Avis on the front of the grid with Simon Watts. As you heard in the interview, Claire, A, switching off from the big crowd that's here, and B, nervous about starting on the front, but despite the nerve, she's outside her comfort zone, but is on the grid and has taken that pole position. Well done, Claire Avis. Lights out here at Oulton. Great start from Claire Avis and Simon Watts in second place. Simon Walton makes a dive to the left, and I think that was to try and get past Greg Saunders. Here's Liam McGill already making up progress as well. McGill wants to try and make it a double if he can. Fights the car side by side with Callum Eason. Here's Simon Watts now going for the lead. Side by side as they come out of Old Hall Corner and down into Cascades. Claire still in second position. This is really what the reverse grids are all about, and I love the fact, I've said it before and I make no apology for repeating the fact that reversing the groups of drivers, the groups of 6, is an inspired idea because everybody gets some sort of change around. It is such a great idea. I don't know why more championships don't do that. But here's Jonathan Baker. Great second position. Race number 1 looks to the outside of Liam McGill there as they go into the banked hairpin. But out front it is Simon Watts there at the moment. Claire Avis still in second position. Then it's Callum Eason in third. Baker and McGill. McGill's already cleared the blue 10. Are we though going to see a battle between those two? Baker's confidence will be. He's got a little bit less racing experience than Liam McGill, who's raced up in Scotland before. So Claire Avis coming under pressure from Callum Eason, who looks for second position. Callum there, just biding his time. Saw it wasn't quite close enough to make the move. Backs out. That was good racing between the pair of them. Good, clean, fair racing between Claire Avis. There is Simon Rudd already making progress in the GRD Lifson Engineering car coming through after that broken drive shaft. Here's the view from Richard Avis, who had a stellar race number 1. But it's Simon Watts out front in the 23. Excellent 5th position for him in race number 1. Best of the season. Liam McGill wants to pick off Callum Easton. So Callum now has got the difficult job of chasing Claire Avis. He's going to try and make a move on the inside, but also he's got to try and defend from Liam McGill, who's got John Baker on the outside, and John's having a go in blue 10 as they go around Lodge Corner. Here's Baker again, got ran a little bit wide. Loving this. What a superb bit of reverse grid racing this is. There's the battle for second. Callum Eason now down on the inside. Passes Claire Avis. Liam McGill will follow through. Liam using his racecraft to speculate that Callum was going to be quicker and make the inside move and pass Claire Avis. So Claire down to 4th position. Well, that front row start hasn't jinxed her at all, has it? She's driving superbly and offers some good points once again. Race leaders along Lakeside. Eason and McGill will be keen to close in on the race leader. Now, are they going to work together, or is Liam McGill going to try and make a move for second position? We'll have to see as they go into the banking. Once again, there is the race leader, Simon Watts, getting away with this one. Now we've got green flags being shown there. Green flags being shown, so we've got an incident somewhere on circuit. Marshall's running back, and there's dust in the distance. Let's have a look and see what has caused that. We have an issue, and now red flags on the race because we've got 2 cars out of the race. More for you on that after the break. Now, just before the break, we very sadly saw these 2 cars off the circuit. It's Jonathan Baker in blue and Claire Avis in yellow and white. John was looking on the outside. Now, seeing the run-up to that, John thought there was room. Claire may be going to try and get a line into the hairpin. I can't be sure without maybe a little bit more build-up. Here's Claire, you can see, not appearing to move over. Probably a racing incident between the two, but a very damaging one, sadly. And it means that those 2 cars won't start the restart, which is about to get going. Liam McGill's got work to do. Pole position still Simon Watts. He's on his own at the front. The lights are going on. Out go the lights. We are racing. Looks like a great start from Richard Avis, who'll be doing this one for Claire without a doubt. A little bit of a recalcitrant start by Abby Walton as they go down into Old Hall Corner, and it's Callum Eason who's got the lead. Liam McGill continues his chase of Callum, but at the moment he's back in 3rd place. Richard Avis second in the Powerflex car, but watch McGill, he will take no prisoners as he goes down the hill, squeezes through on the inside, and this is where they were a little bit wobbly there from Callum Eason, but he held that well and holds on to the lead. It is a pressure moment for Eason, looking for his first win in the championship. Here's Simon Watts. So Simon Watts, the pole position starter, down in 4th now because Richard Avis is 3rd ahead of him. Ahead of him is Liam McGill, who started 6th. Sean Reynolds has some first lap grass once again in treble 7. That's a pity. Come on, Sean, back on track. Yeah, he doesn't give up, does he, Sean Reynolds? We saw that in race number 1. So it's Callum Eason leading from championship leader Liam McGill. I checked the points after race number 1. I don't think there are any further championship position changes, although some drivers have got closer, and McGill's getting closer to Callum Eason. Here they come down the hill in towards the chicane. Eason's got the inside run though. McGill's got him. McGill round the outside takes the position. Eason will try and fight back. You can see how much speed McGill was carrying through the chicane. Goes very wide on the exit of the first part. Simon Rudd making progress again, busy chasing James Hayward. So Simon Rudd, I'm not sure what his target is. Obviously going to be a win, but realistically, what can he do? Is it going to be a podium? Simon Hayward immediately in front, so it's McGill from Eason. Callum looking for, now if he can hold on to, if he can grab a win it'll be his first, but if he holds on to second it'll be a first as well. A first-second position, if you see what I mean. Is the door open here? James Hayward is passed by Simon Rudd. So this is a typical gritty recovery drive from Simon Rudd, the defending champion, goes through dearly once again. The race leader though is Liam McGill, looking to try and make it a double win here. Callum Eason in second, the rest of them settled down now. Such a shame to have lost Jonathan Baker and Claire Avis from this race. You can hear the clatters aboard Simon Walton's car. The number 9 machine. Simon Watts busy chasing Simon Walton at the moment. Beg your pardon, that's Simon Waugh, isn't it, in the 22, not Simon. So many Simons in this race. So here's the view from Simon Waugh. Blue car chasing Simon Walton now around the left-hander. This is one of the trickiest corners at Oulton Park. You sometimes see a driver trying to pull off a manoeuvre there, and it is so difficult to do that. Simon Walton chasing James Hayward at the moment. This is the run out of the hairpin down towards Britain's. There is the Dorenza car, the rest of the runners in front. We've got Simon Rudd in front of this group at the moment. We saw Simon Rudd clearing James Hayward a couple of laps ago, but it's Liam McGill looking pretty comfortable at the minute in this one, which will be, incidentally, a slightly shortened race after the stoppage to clear John Baker and Claire Avis away. Both drivers we're reporting okay and out of the car, which is the main thing. But a little bit of a shame to see that. But a short race distance, A, because it's a restart, and B, obviously because of curfews, so that we can all fit in racing for all the formulae here today. Simon Rudd looking to make another manoeuvre here, and he's caught the man who was on pole position, or on the outside front row we should say, Simon Watts, who was 5th in race number 1. So Simon Rudd, what can he do here? This is not the easiest track to overtake. There aren't any easy tracks to overtake on, but Oulton Park does provide a real technical challenge for the drivers. And what you've got to consider is that Simon Rudd's car has done less mileage around Oulton Park, but he's got more work to do from having to start at the front. And at the moment, very much concentrating on racing lines, uses just a little bit of curb there, nothing like track limits at all. As Simon gets a little bit more momentum, comes down the hill, has a look. This is the closest battle on circuit at the moment. Every single place gained could be a point for Simon Rudd, who draws level here. He's got the inside run coming up to the next corner. Simon Watts is very much aware that he is there on the left of the car, goes through, and that is position gained from Simon Rudd. And you can trace the build-up back to maybe the line, maybe even the corners before, but certainly going into turn 1. And just using a little bit more curb than Simon Watts did, and that afforded him more momentum down the hill, probably through Cascades as well. So it's position gained for the defending champion. He's got Richard Avis in front, so up into 4th place has gone Simon Rudd, but this is a short race, as we mentioned. There might not be that much more time for him to get too many more positions, as Liam McGill, who is improving lap by lap with clear circuit in front of him, bags another fastest lap. Callum Eason still 2nd, Richard Davis 3rd, Simon Rudd in 4th place. Then it's Simon Watts, Simon Walton in 6th place from Simon Waugh. We've got all 4 Simons together. There has to be a name, doesn't there, for a collection of Simons? I'm not sure what it is. Simon Rudd continues, he's the leading Simon at the moment, and goes up in 4th position, still trying to close down on Richard Davis. And he is getting close to Richard Davis at the moment in the 77. Richard Davis, incredibly, looking for a first podium this year. It's been a decent day's racing for him. 4th position in race number 1. I would say, even if Rudd passes him, he's going to get another 4th here, maybe a podium in the Powerflex car as well. He's working hard. They go down through Dearly, across the line goes the race leader onto the last lap. And McGill still gunning. Callum Eason looking for a best ever result for him in second place. And he's only got just under 2.6 miles to go now before he can grab that. And that's looking, actually I'm not even going to say it because I hate to put the curse of the commentator on anyone, having perhaps done that to Claire Avis earlier on. My apologies, Claire. Here we come, down through Cascades once again. Simon Rudd closing up, battling for a podium position. So it's the Jodie Lifton Engineering car versus the Powerflex machine. The Powerflex car out front. Here comes Rudd teeing up the inside here. This is how he managed to get past Simon Watts on the earlier lap, but he's not quite close enough at the moment. Is that going to be a last opportunity for him? He's all over the back of the 77 car. Through the hairpin, in car with Simon Rudd again. Tries to get as much drive and grip as he can out of the hairpin. They'll go up towards Hilltop for the last time. Richard Avis closing up a little bit on Callum Eason. Callum might have to go a bit defensive. They clatter the curbs, and Avis now challenging Callum Eason. Callum will no doubt be thinking, hang on, this could be my best ever finish here in second. I said that he got a podium habit. It was a third place habit, and it may be about to manifest into a second place one. The WDE car heading the Powerflex car at the moment. Through they come. Coming up to join in as well is Simon Watts, who's not that far away. Cat and mouse between these three. Liam McGill's getting purple sectors, could well be on for another fastest lap. The race leader here is Liam McGill, who's broken clear, 5 or 6 seconds clear at the moment of these three, and it's Callum Eason still in second place. I'm just watching this. I don't think that there's going to be a change here. We're going to see a challenge, I think, from Rudd, but they all look to seem to have their own space on circuit. Rudd has a speculative look down the inside, but nothing doing as Callum Eason goes through the last corner as Liam McGill takes the checkered flag and win number 2 of the weekend. Simon Rudd is in 4th place and immediately ahead. Second place to Callum Eason. His best ever result for Callum Eason. Richard Davis' first podium of the year. Simon Rudd in 4th. Simon Watts is going to be next up. We're in car with James Hayward. As we go across the line, Abby Walton is going to pick up another 11th place finish down behind Sean Reynolds and Greg Saunders. Here comes Abby, as you heard in her interview, getting a bit of coaching and improving lap times round by round. That is exactly what it's all about for a newcomer. Very successful weekend though for Liam McGill, who would extend the championship lead here at Oulton Park. Callum Eason again continuing his podium runs and grabbing a second place. It's Richard Davis in 3rd. Liam McGill, by the way, improving fastest lap on the final tour to get the extra 5 points there. Simon Rudd 4th from Simon Watts and Simon Walton. Simon Waugh in 7th from James Hayward and Sean Reynolds. Greg Saunders 10th ahead of Abby Walton. And the non-finishers, Jonathan Baker and Claire Avis.
Well, race 2 is a bit busier for you, and especially with that restart. Callum has put the pressure on.
Yeah, he definitely has. Callum's getting really, really good now. So, I mean, at the start there, we got away on the first one and I couldn't pass him. There was only a lap there. But then the second time I knew I had to get by him as quick as possible. But, you know, big respect to him. He left me good racing room into the corner, so we both got round cleanly.
Callum, good weekend.
Yeah, it was a mega weekend. Without the support behind me, like with the WDE recruitment car, Paul Rivette, Keith Rapley to run the car, it makes my life so much easier to have a car that's underneath you, and you just feel so confident, and you just have trust between you and your mechanic.
Really going for it on the corner 1 on that restart as well. Great start.
Yeah, it was a mega restart. We got off the line. I see the gap there, and look in my mirror and see McGill's got a good start as well, so I had to just go for that gap, and we all made it through cleanly. I can't have any more respect for all the guys around me to get us all 3 wide through to turn 1.
So I would say that's a pretty good, successful weekend for you.
Yeah, not too bad. Coming away with 3rd at the end makes it all worth it. There's a few people went out obviously in the first start, but I got a good start in the second start and held 3rd, so happy with that.
So maintaining the championship lead is Liam McGill. Simon Rudd 2nd. Richard Davis now up into 3rd. Callum Eason is now 4th ahead of Scott Parkin and Jonathan Baker. Congratulations to all the drivers on a splendid show this weekend. Thank you for your company. We'll see you next time at Croft.